You're listening to Big World Network.
Amazing Grace, Episode 4. Written by James Hellvig, read by Meagan Hedin. Sprinting down the corridor and clutching the burning, bleeding gash caused by the bullet's passage through the arms merchant's upper left bicep, Demonis Alumno abandons the submachine gun and races up the stairs, heading for the pre-planned exit. Puta, I know I hit you. Such reflexes. Panting with effort, Demonis Alumno reaches the back room of the second floor where an extension ladder spans the space between this building and the next. Leaning out to scan the space below, the muffled sounds of entry of the breaching team below reverberates through the entire building. Grunting, Demonis Alumno grabs the bag of extra clothing that had been left beside the ladder for this escape, climbs up, and quickly crosses to the other side, stepping down and removing the mask with a grimace. The thin figure then hangs the mask on a ragged piece of jutting brick. Using a razor-sharp blade to cut strips of fabric to bind the stinging wound, Demonis Alumno then uses a gloved fingertip to scrawl a single word onto the wall in blood. Grinning, the arms dealer changes clothes and stuffs the soiled clothing back into the small bag, before quickly striding towards the ground floor and freedom. The strobe of emergency beacons casts multicolored shadows across the stern features of Tammy as Mother Steele is loaded into the waiting ambulance. Mac watches from a distance for a moment, noting the fist she rhythmically clenches open and closed. Approaching from the side and clearing his throat, Mac says, "The medics say she's going to make it." Tammy nods in reply, as the doors to the ambulance slam shut. "You need to get checked out, too." Tammy's head swivels to glare at him. Jutting his chin forward, Mac grumps, "Don't give me grief. I've already got the feds crying about your possession of automatic weapons, and your pals calling me every 5 minutes for updates. Turn on your damn phone." Visibly relenting, Tammy unclenches her hand, focusing on breathing in and out, while Mac waits for her to calm herself. Turning to fully face him, Tammy says softly, "I don't like losing, Mac." Snorting, the police captain replies, "Losing? You rescued Mother Steele and, from the blood trail, you got a piece of the son of a bitch. We've got that punk Raphael and we'll sweat every piece of information he knows out of him. I'd call that a win, Major." Shaking her head, Tammy sighs loudly before answering. "I got lucky, Mac. Demonis Alumno set this whole thing up. Vadim was likely the only real threat with information. Whoever Demonis Alumno really is, their planning is meticulous." Frowning, Mac says, "The note on the wall, the mask, I don't get that. Doesn't Kara mean face?" Meeting Mac's troubled gaze, Tammy replies, "The message was a taunt for me. It means face to face." Turning to walk away and mumbling under her breath, she continues, "This isn't over." Hanging up the phone, Dale reviews the events of the last 24 hours. Pulling all of the available footage showing the area at the time of the building's breach, they had been unable to identify anyone leaving the area. The setting sun and the normal ebb and flow of the city had made the task nearly impossible. Sneaky bastard. At least the heat's on now. That ought to keep your head down for a while. Wearily rubbing his eyes, the senior NCO stands, arching his back and stretching. Face to face? Really? Wouldn't want to be you on that day, pal. Opening her eyes, Mother Steele looks slowly around the hospital room filled with flowers and balloons. Tammy is in a chair beside her, arms crossed and dozing. Kat and Father Bernard stand at the foot of the bed, whispering softly. "I'm alive. Wonders never cease." Noticing the increase in the monitor's heartbeat and respiration signals, Kat turns to smile at the waking nun. "Welcome back, Nancy," she says quietly. Father Bernard turns at the same instant Tammy abruptly sits up, hand automatically reaching for the pistol hung under her left arm, instantly awake and scanning the room for threats. Seeing the worried expressions on her friends' faces, Tammy relaxes and smiles, placing a hand gently on Mother Steele's arm. "How are you feeling?" Tammy asks earnestly. "Tired," the nun answers. "How long have I been here?" Father Bernard comes to sit at the other end of the bed, taking her hand as he answers. 2 days, Nancy. I was beginning to think you were just ignoring me." Grinning at her old friend and squeezing his hand affectionately, Mother Steele replies, "I missed you too, George." Turning her gaze to Tammy, she continues, "Did you catch the men who took me?" Meeting the clear expression evenly, Tammy replies, "Yes. They won't be bothering you ever again." Taking a sharp breath, Mother Steele leans forward, voice rising in urgency. "Tammy, you didn't!" Shaking her head in response to the unasked question, Tammy says, "No, I didn't. Someone else took care of that before I arrived." Voice growing hoarse, she continues, "I'm sorry about all this, Nancy." Pulling the guilt-ridden woman gently to her, Mother Steele whispers harshly, her own emotions clouding her speech. "Sorry? You have nothing to be sorry for. This wasn't your doing, my friend." The two women hold each other, tears and soft sobs escaping them both. Father Bernard and Kat exchange a glance of relief. Now they can move forward.
This has been a presentation of Big World Network. Visit us on BigWorldNetwork.com for more free weekly series, or follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to Big World Network.